So yeah, it's been, even doing these kind of fairly rough, unedited videos is still, every day has been kind of hard. Although I will say there was a couple where I unexpectedly got into like adding some stuff into and editing it more than earlier today than I meant to. But it was some editing that I thought would actually help, putting like some, so anyway. So yeah, so I guess we're just gonna do a real, not that, you know, anyone's gonna watch. I mean, so far my videos that have been coming out so far haven't been getting watches, but there's only been about 3, so just gotta keep going on this 30-day thing, even if. So I guess the subject for today, because what I'm supposed to do is talk about one of my interests or something psychologically or whatever. I don't know. Yeah, I'll try to fit that in. I guess today it's geology a little bit. I guess what we're doing right now is we're just looking at the concept of a fault or an escarpment, and I don't exactly know the difference, but basically I know that like you have all this rock here in Duluth, and then when you get to Midway Road, there's like a big drop off here. It pretty much goes along Midway Road. This big like I think they call it, what do they call it, the Duluth complex, the big kind of like plateau that kind of Duluth is on, and then it pretty much is along Midway Road. And then after this geology, the rocks pretty much change too after this point, you know, to a certain extent. I'm making kind of a generality, but anyway. But yeah, we're part of this big. Okay, here's the area that we're going to be going to, Midway Road here. As you can see, this is right where the geology changes there. Pretty much, Midway Road is pretty much right on the edge of either, maybe it's a little bit into the hill here. Pretty much. Well, anyway, it's more or less right on the geological change area, Midway Road, until it gets up to like here. And then if you want to go on the regular map, then you can see here the hills here. So it's a fairly flat area about here, but there's different hills there and stuff. You see the big giant hills there, and then you can really see yeah, so it goes right along. Okay, so it's kind of a little scattered, but basically there's hills this direction, but there's the really big massive hills there. And then if you go up to about here, this Elks Corner, then you're basically right on the edge of these hills here, pretty much. It's not easy to see like a clean drop off, but yeah, it's pretty much right about there. You can see like the edge of that's the escarpment there. So because of this escarpment, this big change in you know, big drop off in the land, like often it happens someplace like the Balcones Escarpment in Texas. There's a place where like the water like collects at the bottom of it, and especially at something called an Artisen well, where so apparently, even though it's mostly igneous rock and everything, there's still lots of fissures like in the, you know, up in Duluth, the Duluth complex, where the anywhere where water is stored. Anyway, now this well was actually dug artificially, but still there's still not that place, many places where you can do it. So anyway, so this is the famous Artesen well here in Duluth here, that's at Midway Road, and a lot of people stop here to get water, and I might as well fill up my little water tank. I don't have that big of a water tank right now, but this was mostly a YouTube stunt, but we can just anyway. Oh yeah, got like a giant ass tank. Anyway. Alright, so anyway, fill this up here. So yeah, simply, you know, it's coming out of the ground. Can't really, anyway, well, you can't see it, but we're real close to the hills here. Maybe I'll see if I can see what hills it's coming from. Yeah, they basically they came up this box here, this blockhouse here, and they put like the water on here. Okay, yeah, so actually, you know what, it was going to be a little tough to take this container off, so this is mostly just like a little diversion. This is only a couple miles from work, and I wanted this tank right away. Anyway, so, yeah, so you can see here is like where the cliff starts here, basically. So if you think about it, that's kind of like how the water table, and how it gets that pressure from the Artesen well is from this hill, this rise in the land here, this escarpment here. This 30-day YouTube miniseries is a psychological experiment using Jungian psychology to live better and experience more this summer. I'm not a psychologist, just a layman looking to apply Jungian principles to life. I'm starting with the idea that the unconscious mind is very smart and tells us things. And believing in this, I drove up to Hibbing, Minnesota, and I found that 4 locations in Hibbing, Minnesota corresponded quite well to 4 different principles called the Hibbing Quaternity. The first one is the Hibbing Ghost Town, which the characteristics is you feel the echo of the past as the wind flows down established paths. This represents unconscious voice being in the center of a moving circle, the mother archetype, home, center, castle, etc. Character I'm coming up with here to explain it is Nellie, the ghost sheepdog mom who circles the area, protects and guides. The Greyhound Museum has to do with travel and also the Jungian idea of beauty as a way of mentally feeling your way into physical objects and flowing into life in general, flowing beauty, mentally becoming part of the object. The character here I'm coming up with is Flows With It, which is a Native American cartoon character who has a magic canoe, finds all paths, glides over, portages, flows into life. Now the ore pit, it represents awe, the smallness of the individual, abstraction, and the way to in making the world simpler, more understandable. Actions, the beauty of symmetry, the beauty of maps, beauty of mathematics. And this is supposed to be Laser Nash. Doesn't look like him that much, but anyway, it's like John Nash with his cup sending out all these laser beams across, dividing the world, trying to find that order in the chaos from A Beautiful Mind, if you haven't seen that movie. Bob Dylan's home. It represents stories, archetypes, wishing to become someone else. DJ Hat Trick, what he does is he gets people into the groove by putting different hats on and sending people into different paths. It's sort of like the way we do whenever we listen to a song, for example. Here's a simplified view of the Quaternity here that I'm going to be using for this 30-day adventure. And this is what it's going to more look like. I'm just going to do a simple sketch that I'll put in the video and then just kind of explain it like on a notepad like this to make it simpler so I can get it done. So I can do a video for 30 days. And so subscribe to get all 30 of those videos.